Imagine being sentenced to life in prison for a crime you didn't commit. That's exactly what happened to 59-year-old Suzy Mellen. In 1998, the mother of 3 was convicted of first-degree murder, despite her insistence that she was innocent, as seen in this interrogation tape as she was questioned by homicide detective Marcella Wynn.
I'm talking homicide. A man was murdered, all right?
I didn't murder him.
The man she was accused of killing, Rick DALY, a transient with whom she had had a brief relationship. At the center of the trial, testimony by a woman named June Patty, who had a long history of giving false tips to the police. Patty died in 2006, but the truth was finally revealed when Deirdre O'Connor, a lawyer with a nonprofit group called Innocence Matters, stumbled on Susan's case in the course of examining another one.
The conviction is overturned, and as to Miss Mellen, the case is dismissed.
The case against Suzy Mellen quickly unraveled, and on Friday, she walked out of prison, a free woman at last. Susan, this was your first weekend as a free woman after 17 years in prison. What was it like?
It's not real. It's not real, and I'm still kind of trying to absorb it all. I mean, it's amazing, and seeing my kids again, I'm so thankful, and I just feel so blessed. But I don't think it's hit me.
What were you most excited about doing once you were released?
I think I was real excited before I got released when they let my 3 kids come into the courtroom. That was exciting. But then when I walked out and saw all the cameras and all the people, and when they handed me my grandson, just to hold him and just to know that I was totally free. But seeing the kids and holding them and hugging them and seeing my grandson and hugging my brother, it was amazing.
What about some basic creature comforts? I would think that taking a long, luxurious shower must have been amazing, to have privacy, to be able to have the freedom to eat whatever you wanted. I mean, what was that like?
We went out to dinner. I had a steak dinner. I couldn't even eat my whole steak. It was too rich, and I had to give half of it away to my son because it was just too much. And then I think I haven't had my bubble bath yet. I'm still waiting for my bubble bath because I haven't had a bath in 17 years. I think I was in the shower the first night. I'm not going to lie. And there was a door. I was making weird noises and just like a little kid, like, oh my God, I'm really in the shower and I'm all by myself, and there's a door and nobody's going to walk in and nobody's going to talk to me. And, it was just, it was amazing.
What about technology? Were you surprised at how many things have changed?
Watching people walking down the street with phones, I'm like, wow, don't people put those phones away? They're just talking on phones. And then I catch my kids on the phones. I go, you guys need to put those phones down. I think I'm walking around looking like, wow, really? Is this real? It's like I'm in a dream world. I feel like I'm going to wake up one day and it's just been a dream.
Well, let's talk about how this nightmare began for you. Back in 1997, a man you knew, who you actually dated for a while, a transient man named Rick DALY, was viciously murdered. He had been bludgeoned with a hammer. His body had been burned. When you heard that he had died in such a terrible way, what was your reaction?
I was just devastated. I would think I was mad. I was upset that how could somebody do something like that to somebody, and he didn't deserve it. It was crucial, and it was devastating.
You were with your daughter, Jessica, who was 9 years old at the time, when you were approached at a McDonald's.
Yes.
And told that you were being arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
Yes, and she said Rick DALY, so I knew that who I was getting arrested for, and I just went, oh no, this has to be a mistake. And then I kept trying to tell Jessica, it's going to be okay, baby, it's okay. And then I remember my last words for her was, I'm going to be home tonight, I'm going to come home.
I know that you insisted upon your innocence. There's footage of your interrogation, and you even asked for a polygraph test to be administered.
I sure did.
What were the authorities saying when you kept insisting you were innocent?
Well, like with that, they said that it wouldn't hold up in the court. So I said, why? I mean, because the truth would come out. But it just seemed like they just weren't listening to me. It was like, I felt like they were already convicting me when I didn't do nothing. So I think I was numb and shocked.
It seems much of your conviction was based on the testimony of a woman named June Patty.
Yes.
Did you know her?
I knew of her and knew her, but not like she was never my friend, somebody I would never trust.
I think she was known as an unreliable informant.
Yes.
And that she had a history of lying, usually to get herself out of a bind.
Yes, she did that.
And yet the police bought her story hook, line, and sinker, it seems.
Yes, I know, and I kept telling the lady that was that did the interview with me, I kept telling her she was lying, the girl was lying, and she just didn't believe me. It was horrible.
What was life like in prison for you, Susan?
It was frightening, and there's so many times that I was scared, and there was times when, you know, when there was fights and people, I mean, I've been threatened before and I've been hit before, but I just, you know, I thought that, am I going to make it out of here, you know? Am I going to be able to be okay or come out alive? But thank God. God really did. If it wasn't for God, I don't think I would have made it. There's no way. I even wrote freedom on the bottom of my tennis shoes with a black marker. Every time I got new shoes, I walked around with freedom on the bottom of my shoes because I believed I was going to be free. During this period, were you able to see your kids, especially your younger kids, who were, what, 7 and 9 at the time? Right, yes. The first 7 years, I didn't see them because they kept thinking I was going to come home. So those first 7 years, and then I remember I cried out. I cried out every night and prayed to go home, but I really cried out to God in the shower. And I said, why haven't I seen my kids yet? I'm already been, you know, punished for all this. Why am I being punished to not see my children? Who cared for them when you were in prison? First, their grandmother, but then my older daughters, my stepdaughter, Anna, and my older daughter, Julie, they pretty much were their role models and took care of them, which that really helped me do my time too because of those two. So you felt that your children were at least being properly cared for? Totally, yes. You tried to appeal your case. You filed a number of appeals while you were incarcerated. Yeah. And what would happen every time you did that? They would just be denied. And then I lost, I kind of just lost. I didn't have an attorney because I didn't have money either. I think most people would have been so angry and bitter had this happened to them. And yet I know you saw other women, lifers like yourself, who had grown so angry, and you didn't want to be like them. No, never, never. Because I knew I was innocent, and I knew that I think my pain was so huge, and the numbness and of it all, I think I just didn't want to be bitter, and I didn't want to be a miserable lifer either. I wanted to have a happy heart. I wanted to have, you know, to be positive and know that this isn't the end. This is not the end of my life. And I refused to believe it was going to be my end. And that I just knew that one day I was going to walk free. I just believed it, and I knew that God would bring me an angel. And she's sitting right next to me. I guess the big question that most people will be asking when they hear this story is, how could this happen?
This happens, it's not just that it did happen, it's happening every single day, and it happens when people that have the responsibility to protect the innocent don't do it. And this is what makes my blood boil about this case, is that they went ahead and they prosecuted Suzy, knowing that the witness that they had was not a credible witness.
Tell us about the defense attorney, Louis Notrica, who represented Suzy.
Well, Mr. Notrica at the time had just been disciplined by the state bar for failing another client, and he was on probation. He was permitted to practice, but he had been found in violation of some ethical rules. He was in his 70s. He had a stroke before trial. He was on medication, and he was having trouble staying awake. He didn't do a great deal of criminal trial work. I think he might have dabbled in it, but he was primarily a family law lawyer. So he wasn't the person to try this case.
And what's become of those 3 gang members who were involved?
Chad Landrum has been convicted and is doing life without the possibility of parole. Lester MONLLOR, who went by the name of Wicked, was tried and acquitted, primarily, as I understand it, because of the statements that June Patty made to his benefit. And then the other man, SANTO ALVAREZ, who went by the name of PAYASO, was never investigated and was never charged, and he's been free for 17 years.
Do you think that he will now be, that the investigation will be reopened?
Well, I think that what we know about his role, it's possible that his only role was an accessory after the fact, and the statute of limitations has expired for that crime. If he were a principal in the murder, then they certainly could go after him.
What was it like for you, Suzy, on Friday, when in the same courtroom where you were sentenced back in 1998, you heard the judge say,
It was, the judge was a bomb. He was just amazing. When I heard that, I think I hugged you, and it was, I can't even describe it. It was awesome, beautiful. I was really free. And think when I walked outside is when it really hit me. But, and then when they were walking me down and they put me in the elevator, I always face the wall because, you have your cuffs on and you're chained up. And I said, I don't have to face the wall, do I? And he goes, oh no, you can turn around. Because I started to walk and face the wall in the elevator. So he says, oh no, you can turn around. So it was like, and I got excited because, it was like, I'm not part of that life anymore, and it's over. It's over and it's done, and I'm just going to make the best of my life now, and it's a new beginning.
You were, I know, really shocked when you met Suzy because of her attitude toward her situation.
Yes, she has such a remarkable spirit. She has such strength and grace about her, and it really moves me because here's this woman who's been in there all these years, and without knowing for sure if it ever is going to happen, she just trusted that it would. And it was a special obligation to take that on when we ultimately did. And then when we met the kids, because I was working on the case for a few months before I met any of the children, and then to meet them, and they're definitely Suzy's kids. They have the same strength and grace that she has. So it's been a very, very rewarding experience to work with them.
At the same time, doesn't it make you angry?
Oh, I'm infuriated. It's ridiculous. None of this should have happened. I mean, if anybody did their job, this would have been prevented. It wasn't just Detective Wynn that did the wrong thing. It was the prosecutor, it was the defense lawyer, it was the judge. I don't fault the jurors because the jurors trusted the information that they were receiving from the authorities, but everyone else really has a huge responsibility in this terrible tragedy.
And how often do you think this happens?
I think it happens a lot more than we want to admit. We certainly get phone calls and emails and letters every day describing the same kind of failures. I have an alibi witness, my lawyer is not presenting them. The DA is saying things that aren't true. We have to be willing to take an honest look at what we're doing and to understand that we're driven by winning more than we are by getting to the truth.
Susan's 3 children, Jessica 26, Donnie 25, and Julie 39, describe the years without their mother. So for 17 years, you all had to get along without her. What was the hardest part of not having a mom?
I think the hardest part was having something special happen in your life, or having a good, just holidays and having experiences without her, and not being able to call her or have her come over. And my prom was a big one. My engagement was another big one.
You waited to get married so your mom could be there?
Yes, my fiance and I have been together for 8 years. Just waited for her.
And what about the possibility that she was never going to be released?
I think I knew in my heart that one day it would happen.
And so when are you going to get married?
I think maybe next summer.
So it'll be nice to have your mom there. What about for you, Donnie? I know you had actually a tattoo of a broken heart put on your chest.
Yes, the hardest thing was, I guess, seeing all the other moms with their sons. Going to my friend's house and seeing how their moms interacted with their sons. And, I mean, sometimes, when my friends would be rude to their mom or disrespectful, I would go up to them, some people don't have their mom, she loves you, you need to be with her, and, and don't take it for granted.
So, suddenly, everything changes. On Friday, a judge tells your mom she's a free woman. You must wake up and think, wait, did this really happen?
Yeah, I've been waking up at 5. We're having coffee in the morning and watching the news.
She calls me, and it's like mama calling, and it's the weirdest thing.
You must be very proud of your kids because they've been through an awful lot, and They seem like such nice people.
I'm so proud of my children. Do you know how there's so many women in prison that don't even know where their kids are? So to know that my kids were doing good and always knew where they were, and when just she got a master's degree and he's in the Navy, and she's still trying to go through college, and I wish she could, you know, finish her college, but it's been hard for her. But just to know that they're all are amazing and such a blessing, it's like I think that's what gave me strength. God gave me strength in my 3 kids. If it wasn't for them, I would have never made it. Never.
Well, let's end on a happy note. What do you have to look forward to? What are some of the things you're excited about doing now that your mom's a free woman?
I got my Happy Meal yesterday, so I was really stoked about that.
You went back to McDonald's?
I did, yes.
Drove through.
We drove through and got my Happy Meal, and then I want to plan a wedding where she can go dress shopping with me and like do what she wasn't able to do for Julie, you know, and finish school and have her support to do that. I think I can concentrate more now.
I always wanted to have a cake for each of them because all the birthdays I left, so I wanted a cake for each one with their names on it. You know, like a birthday cake, and then celebrate and have a birthday celebration.
For all the birthdays that you weren't there for.
Right, yeah. That's
I
one of my bucket lists. Yeah.
17 years worth of presents.
Okay.
And what about you, Julie?
You know, I have her there every day now. So she's living with us, and grocery shopping, she went with us. That was fun. Because she keeps Aiden busy while I'm, you know, shopping.
Your son, who is how old?
16 months.
And I know you got to hold him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of him too. It's amazing.
She's doing great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
he
nice.
He loved me too. The very beginning when I held him, I was afraid he might cry and not want me to hold him because most babies do. But he took to me like he had been in my life for this whole time. I was like, that was amazing to me, and that blessed me and made me cry.
Hi, my grandson. Oh, first time I held him. Yeah.